Welcome back to Under Oath. Welcome back to Under Oath. I'm attorney Jeff Kaufman. Sitting next to me is my good friend, an extremely talented comedian, James Young.
Thank you so much for that. Rousing.
You know, when you do stand-up and you're a host, they always teach you, say all this great thing and then say the name.
The last thing you say is the name. Very
Man
good.
who likes to kill chickens and and superstar James Young.
There you go. Little pause. Get it.
See, I always get loud with mine, though.
I like it.
I love when I do mine because it feels like the NBA. Like when I used to interview, when I would put on different people. I remember, you know, like Miguel Galone.
There you go. I always said this, man. Michael Buffer has to be one of the greatest, like,
Don't
announcers.
say it. We'll be sued.
I know. I'm not going to say it. But anything that he actually introduces sounds so much more exciting.
Let's get ready. That's all I can say.
That's all you can say. So I think Michael Buffer is not hitting his full potential. I say you need to put Michael Buffer in other places to make it more exciting. Imagine being at the DMV, right? Now, DMV is a horrible place to be. Yeah. Imagine if they called you up, though, after waiting all that time, and it was him. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for James Young. Pyrotechnics, loud music on. It would make that experience so much better.
You can make him your Siri.
Yes.
You know how Samuel Jackson is.
I love that.
Is Alexa
Michael Buffer is your new Siri voice. Yes. There you go.
Yeah, but everything would be weird.
It'd be great.
I mean, what time is it? It's 3:52.
Imagine how
weather 42.
There you go. Imagine how exciting the bedroom would be. Now you got an announcement to get in there.
Hey, you know, I kind of like that idea, but
come on.
I got thin walls.
Got it.
Yeah, I hear my neighbors doing too many weird things that I don't want to be that guy.
You don't want to hear Michael?
Because you know when you bump into your neighbors. See, I live in a condominium, but
you live in a very nice place.
Yes,
you got a nice place.
So I have never seen my neighbor.
In all the years you lived there?
Because if I hear them open the door, I wait.
Okay, you don't want to see him. You don't want to look him in his eyes.
No, I never want to.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because he'll go. That's some weird stuff. You know, Jeff, I don't want to tell you this because I did have a neighbor.
One of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I bumped into her in the elevator.
Oh, that's awkward.
It was awkward.
Ma'am, I've heard all the things you said before, and you have a potty mouth.
Because it is. The bedroom's kind of loud, but what's really loud is that area when you go into the toilet room.
Yes.
Because in some bathrooms, the toilet is separated.
Yeah, you have that.
And I specifically, that must be the thinnest place between the walls because I can hear them talking clearly in there. And I've been in that bathroom and I've screamed some things while I was in that bathroom as a joke. And I'm
they've heard it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're on a list somewhere now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She tells my girlfriend to blink twice and stuff like that.
That's so funny. That's how you know you're in love, by the way. When they start following you into the bathroom, when there's no cutoff anymore.
No, that's not love. That's just you've been together long enough.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's comfort.
That's comfort.
That's not love.
Yes.
Love isn't like, hey, let me continue this argument while he's dropping a deuce.
It used to be where you close a door to a bathroom, people knew that was off limits.
There's no closing the door for women.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. What is that about?
In the beginning of the relationship. In the beginning of the relationship, I'm going, does she make? I don't think she does.
No, she doesn't.
6 months in, she makes. She makes and loud.
Yeah. Honey, come in here. No. Now, I do got to ask you a question because this is legally screwed. And I think I got a really good one for you. I try to stump you sometimes to see what you're going to say.
There's always a shot.
Okay, here it is. Now, my partner of 8 years cheated, so I broke off our engagement. Sounds normal, right?
8 years. That's a long time to
8
be
years.
engaged.
That
sounds like a you problem.
Yep.
That sounds like it's you.
Now,
go ahead.
She's asking, am I allowed to sell the ring? I've been researching and some people are saying it's illegal to sell it since it's considered a gift. I need some legal advice.
Depends on the state you're in. But normally the way it works out, the person who cancels the engagement doesn't get to keep the stuff.
Really?
Yep.
Even though you gave me the ring.
Yes.
And I say, I don't want to marry you now. Yep. I can't keep that ring?
It's a contract.
Oh, that's part of a legal
part of the contract.
But
if you smacked me or hit me with a bat or gave me a reason to breach that agreement, which is understandable, that could be an argument.
Okay.
So yeah,
I have heard stories of women who call off an engagement and they sell that ring.
They do. And the guy could go after and sue him, but who wants to be in court? But it could be a big ring though. Let's say it's like a $20K ring or something.
Ooh.
Because here's the deal. They're supposed to give it, I think, 3 times your salary?
Yeah.
Some people go, it should be 6. The only people who say it should be 6 are the people who are not given the ring.
Correct.
You know how small that ring would be is if men got one too? Yeah. If you got matching rings?
Yeah. It's never about us. Yeah. It's always about.
Welcome to Valentine's.
Correct.
Okay.
Women love to go, look at my ring, look at my ring, look at my rock. Yeah.
See, we would get like sports packages.
What
Hey,
do
I
we-
got season tickets.
There you go.
We wouldn't get a ring. We'd get like season tickets to
tickets.
like the Marlins or something.
That would equal a ring.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, I got courtside to the Magic for 3 years.
For
Thank
3
you,
years.
baby.
There you go.
There we go.
Prove your love to me.
Prove your love with seats.
Gotcha. Now, you said, because I want to make sure I understand this, you said it depends on what state you're in, whether you can actually sell it and who broke off or
Right.
the circumstances.
All right. Every law, when you ask a legal question of a lawyer, it's very state specific, unless it's a federal law. Okay. Federal applies to the whole country.
Yes.
State law applies to the state you're in.
Yeah.
And they're very different laws on you think, oh, murder's the same. No, murder's not the same. You can
No,
have
it's
different
not.
degrees. You can have different arguments. You have different defenses based on the state. And people are like us, why is that? And it's kind of BS-y. Okay. We should really only have federal laws unless it applies to something that can't happen across the country.
Makes sense.
For example, wetlands.
Yeah.
Iowa doesn't have to give a crap about wetlands.
Because they don't have it.
Or desert places don't have wetlands.
Yeah.
But Florida, we got wetlands.
We do.
You know, if you're a coastal city, you might have coastal issues. But normally the laws should apply. And we did that. And the only reason why that exists, so you know, is to get everybody on board when we started our country.
Got
Because
it.
Florida, a bunch of other states go, we don't want you telling us what to do and what not to do.
Of course
And
not.
that was the agreement that was made. But it clearly no longer probably applies.
Probably not.
Like, let's get into a tough topic. Abortion. Is abortion different in Florida than Georgia? Sure. Could be different. Louisiana, California. Should we have a nationwide abortion law? Yes.
I would agree with that.
Morally, well, in Florida, we don't mind killing our babies. No, that's dumb.
Yeah.
That is clearly something that should be under one law. Because
believe it.
anytime somebody tries to screw with it, it has to go federal anyway.
Sure does.
It's a lawyer issue. And people who argue these issues, they just don't understand the law normally. And if you're a lawyer and you argue the law in a way that just benefits your political affiliation, you're being crappy too. You know, try to figure out something that sits in the middle. Like here's real quick. I'll come clean with how I feel. I believe abortion should be legal. Do I believe it should be regulated? Absolutely. I think it's a medical procedure.
Yes.
And I think women should be treated with dignity and respect. And you're not walking in and just getting a vacuum and heading out. You should be able to stay the night if you have a problem. You should make sure you get the proper medical attention because people can die doing this stuff.
Yes.
You can screw up your fertility forever doing it.
Correct.
So absolutely, it's a medical procedure. The reason why it's not treated that way, it's as simple. Each side believes if they give an inch, they lose it all. So if you're pro-life, absolutely nothing. If you're pro-choice, you believe everything's on the table,
That's right.
including to the last minute.
Yes.
But we can all agree, barring some huge medical problem like the woman's going to die, there's no reason to have an abortion on the last day.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't be a part of anything like that.
Is the third trimester our cutoff? But we can't agree on it. Why? Because if you give an inch, you lose.
Everything.
And that's why we need a nationwide law. And they're going, well, are you going to let Congress do it? I wish I could say yes or no, because Congress is screwed up too. But I think we have a better chance of setting a national law than a state-by-state law. Because you don't want people driving across state lines to be able to get an abortion, or it might even be illegal in some places to transport over.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
So why should you have to worry about that on something that is so fundamentally right or wrong? And that's how we decide on our laws, whether it's a fundamental issue, and not just it's a moral issue of that state. Abortion is not a moral issue of any state. You know, because that changes by just crossing a border.
Correct.
Well, back to Under Oath. Across from me is Craig Lind.
Thank you.
The reason I have to do that is because he needs his name first, because he wants to feel important.
Yeah, of course I do.
I am Attorney Jeff Kaufman.
Hey, I'm Jeff. We're talking about this. Oh, by the way, side salad, Craig over here is along for the ride.
Hold on a second. Some people prefer the side salad. They just do.
Do they? Who
They
prefers
order
the side
that as their
salad?
meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, skinny people. Yeah. All right. I'm in Vegas. And from one of the hotels, you can take, a cab that is driverless.
Do they have those in Las Vegas now?
They do.
Oh, how cool.
And you get into it and it takes you to like 5 different locations. I like it and don't like it at the same time because I know it's the future. I can't wait for the future because I love getting in a car and doing nothing. I don't want to drive.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in charge of anything. I want to look at my phone. Everybody wants to look at their phone. There isn't anybody who gets in their car and goes, you know what I want to do?
I'm really glad
I want to yell at everybody
phone.
who's screwing up around me. No, I want to sit with an iPad and watch like Smallville. I admit it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be driving. So I want the day where the car drives itself.
Well, let me ask a question. When you get into this driverless car, does it let other people in the car with you? Does the car have any say-so on who gets in?
How many people?
Yeah.
I didn't go
if
that
4
far.
people want to get into a 2-seat car, what does it do?
I just got in the damn car.
Oh, okay.
There were 2 of us. I just got in the damn car. I didn't think about it.
Is there a
And
line?
I was sitting there going, I wonder if something goes wrong. And you know why I said it? Because these things crash every once in a while. They do.
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They have accidents. Now, our boy Tesla, not Nikola Tesla, but you know what I'm talking about. So Elon's car supposedly can drive themselves. They kind of sell it that way.
Yeah.
It'll do
Well,
all
it's not supposed. You were in it. It does it.
Well, no, this is another one, but yeah, this is the average car you can get into. Average Tesla supposedly can drive itself on a certain level. The problem is this: they're crashing. This guy's in his car and just takes out this motorcyclist.
Oh,
yeah, happened the other day. Let's see what this is.
Oh, that's awful.
I was reading this a little bit. Tesla Model S on autopilot. Hit and killed a motorcyclist on SR 522 in Washington. Driver relied on autopilot and may have been distracted by his phone.
May have been.
Might have been. Tiny bit.
I promise you, if he was on autopilot, he was 100% distracted by his phone.
Now, depending on what he was actually doing, because, we can find out. Now, I find there's a big difference between, I was making a phone call and I was looking up porn.
Sure.
Bigger difference. Because I know you were a little more preoccupied. But,
is there cameras inside the car that you can see what the driver's doing?
I don't know if they're inside. I know they're outside.
Yeah, I know
so
that.
there's no doubt in my mind that they saw him plow directly into this motorcyclist.
Yeah.
I like the idea of cameras. I love it because it keeps people
there.
from...
Like if I'm the driver and I own the car, I'm responsible, right?
Yes.
No matter what, even if I am relying on autopilot.
I can't rely on autopilot. Can't do it. But now I could sue Tesla.
Products liability?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I would think. But I'm sure there's some waiver to say, listen, we have this thing. It's a secondary thing. It's not meant to be a primary.
They have certain protections the medical device industry does. I wonder if those are available for...
No, they don't have the FDA when you deal with Tesla.
No, I'm just saying if there's something similar where you can't sue.
No, they didn't. The car industry isn't as big as the medical industry. The medical industry, they got mob guys there. Yeah, they're selling pills for $1,000 a pop.
Their attorneys call me sometimes and say, what are you doing? You're not allowed to sue us. I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot.
Let me tell you how many congressmen we owe, counselor. All the laws that get passed for these medical companies. I mean, all the vaccines that they come up with, in a year where we know it takes 10 years. And they go, no, we're protected. Of course they're protected. They bought the congressmen. They bought the senators. They bought the guys who made the laws. And here, I'm going to tell the story, and I don't care. I had a client call me back. We settled this case 8 years ago. The maximum policy limit, and I felt bad because the maximum policy limit was $25,000. That was it. That's all we could do for him. There was no other money in it. $25,000. He calls me back. He goes, I have a problem with my kidney now, and they said it might be related to the accident. I want to sue somebody else. I go, we can't sue somebody else. I said, the fact is, I'm sorry that they only had a $25,000 policy, but that was it.
Yeah.
He goes, well, why is that? I said, well, because the Florida congressmen have decided that they are going to take money from the insurance companies to protect them. I mean, just recently they did it. They all got paid. They got paid in an ugly way.
Oh, for the Florida tort reform?
Oh, yeah, ridiculous. I'm not going to say who, but the most powerful dude.
I'm not going to name names.
Got a lot of money to run for a certain position using insurance company money, which he probably got a huge chunk of it for doing and limiting people's ability to protect themselves. And that's what big companies do. They buy the laws to keep from being sued. Now, there are people out there who go, well, Jeff, there are too many lawyers. Every protection you have right now, I'm going to tell you, every one of them was caused because some lawyer said no. Try it. You're responsible for the damages. And the minute a company becomes responsible for damages, they say, hey, maybe we could be a little safer here.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that works. They're not doing it because they feel bad.
The reason Universal can put 3 million people on a roller coaster a year and not have any serious problems is because lawyers.
Yes. Because if you screw around, you shouldn't be able. Like, for example, I have a guy, let's say I have a guy who's, disabled, and he wants to ride the roller coaster 200 times, or let's say 20 times. And on his 11th time, he loses consciousness.
This is 11 times in a row. I feel like this guy should have had somebody saying, no, man, that's too many times on the same roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody should say no more. They should limit it, because we do know that the stress that gets put on the body by these roller coasters are brutal, and it's different for everybody. I don't deal with roller coasters as well as my son, Jacob. He's 20 years old. I'm not. So my body says, no, thank you. Now, if I did 10 in a row, I'm willing to bet. I did one the other day. I did the...
This when we went to Universal together for your son?
No, I'm not doing those. I did it like 3 years beforehand because I hadn't done this. What's the one, the Raptor ride? It's a...
the Raptor ride?
It's based on like raptors and stuff.
Oh, at Universal?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is
roller coaster is serious.
Roller coaster. Yeah.
I lost my will to live within 20 seconds on this thing. Now, here's the deal. I promise you this. If I would have gone on that 3 times, I might have died. I might have. My body was not built to do it once. And if I did it 3 times, I might have had an emotional thing. I might have had a hemorrhage. My brain might have had a brain hemorrhage. Who knows what would happen? So is there anything out there going, okay, we're limiting you to 1 ride a day? They probably should.
They don't, though. Yeah,
I know.
Because that causes more problems than it solves, because you'll have so many people. Who are you to tell me I can't ride? I meet the physical requirements. I'm not prohibited from riding the ride. And because I'm not prohibited, you have to let me ride as many times. If not, you're depriving me of my ability to choose.
Hold on, stop it. I'm a private company. I can tell you how many times you get to ride something.
Based on
my rights as a private company.
Do you apply that equally to everybody,
yes,
or just to
everybody.
some people who are disabled?
Everybody.
Oh, so you'd have to say, all right, nobody gets to ride more
because
than once.
I can't tell.
You take discretion away from the equation. Just no one gets to ride this more than once a day.
If you can't control your head, it's going to slam up against both sides. I mean, when we sit there, we're like this on it. If you are if you're out, your head is going to flop around. You're going to smack everything. And they're going, they had fractures and everything else. Yes, because he was out cold.
Was this a disabled person who didn't have control of his head?
This is somebody who had certain issues.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what his disabilities were, but, SeaWorld or Universal, they're getting sued for this stuff. There are multiple things so what do you do? Okay,
well,
I either have no roller coasters.
The problem, Jeff, is if they said to that kid or guy, whatever, I don't know who it was, but if they said, no, we're not going to let you ride because you're too disabled, then he would sue for them discriminating against him for being disabled. So damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So you have to apply it to everybody.
What are they supposed to do? Yeah, you could limit everybody. That's one option.
Yes.
The other option is, hey, you're responsible. Go back to the personal responsibility argument again. If you get on this ride, you know it's violent, you know it's fast. If you can't control your head and you decide to ride the ride anyway, what are we supposed to do about that?
Are there standards?
That's on you. You're taking the risk.
But are there standards? Can a ride be too violent? Of course it can. I mean, how do they decide whether a ride is too fast or too violent?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Like they talk about certain rides that are so fast that the G-forces could kill you. Well, it could kill a 90-year-old, and they have all the warnings on the side. Pregnant, old, neck, everything.
Yeah, it's not for 90-year-olds. These roller coasters are not for 90-year-olds. They're not for pregnant women.
What about 40-year-olds?
For people who want to get on it.
Well, they're not for 50-year-olds.
And who can get, I don't know. I mean,
strong 50-year-old? Yeah.
I think I can handle it.
Well, you say it.
I was on the Raptor.
You didn't do too well on the Storm ride.
I did not want to go again, but I was on it.
So, I mean, the question is that as a lawyer, we have to sue people all the time for negligence. For example, you didn't clean your floors well enough, so this guy burned in. I mean, there was water on this floor in this restaurant, which is like greasy water for hours. and this woman burned in. And they go, we're not responsible because you have to prove how long it was there and everything else. And I was. I go, ha, ha, ha.
I think I remember seeing in the video, if this is what I'm thinking of, in the video, wasn't there actual employees like slipping in the area?
Yes. Nothing's better than one of their own staff almost burns in themselves.
Yeah, they're slipping on it. They're like, it's fine. Everyone will be okay.
And people always laugh because a slip and fall always has a negative connotation because you always imagine the dudes like looking left and right and running into it.
Yeah.
Which is so ridiculous because it very rarely happens.
It does happen, though.
It happens.
It does happen.
People commit fraud.
Yep.
But majority of people aren't committing fraud.
Yeah.
We can agree on that.
Yeah.
That happens maybe 1 out of 100 times. And when we see it, it's like, are you kidding me? Now I'm going to tell about the worst case. The worst case of fraud I've ever dealt with was we were referred a case from a big law firm, and it was in Texas. Guy said he was in the back of a semi-cab when the accident happened, and it messed him up really bad. So we got this case. We hadn't met the client yet. And after talking to him a little bit, we realized something was wrong. I realized something was wrong. I said, this doesn't smell right. Dude was never in the truck.
No. I don't remember this.
I had to fly to Texas to be in front of this judge because this judge knew. This judge knew that this guy wasn't in the back of the car somehow. I didn't. I had no idea. But the minute I find out, I was like, yeah, we got to drop this case. We don't represent bad people like this. We represent the people who need our help, not scammers. But it does happen.
Didn't he check into a hotel like 17 hours away the day it happened? Okay, I was starting to come back.
It was not good, but that doesn't happen normally. But do you have people trying to scam the system? Yeah, and everything. I mean, come on. Look in our country now. You're talking about the billions of dollars that were scammed for childcare, and
that is the worst because you're preying on people's sympathies to get money. It's for the kids. It's for the disabled. It's for the autistic kids. Like everyone wants to give money for autistic kids, right?
There's not a lot of money for autism either.
And for people to just capitalize on that and use that as the front for their scam, it's just that's somehow doubly evil. That's worse than just stealing it the old-fashioned way because you're preying on people's sympathies to get the money. You're not even just taking it from them.
For some reason, we don't account money in the same way like a regular injury. Oh, he stole money. It's not the same. Like if you catch one of these guys, what are they going to do? They find a guy who stole 10 million, for example. They'll go, we'll give him a year or two. But that's disgusting. And this is the way it is. And I'm sorry that exists. Now,
there should be the death penalty for that. That should have the death penalty. You steal that much money.
Now, let's go back to our boy Tesla. Elon. Should Elon be responsible for basically advertising a car that they claim can drive on its own? With a couple exceptions. They go, well, you shouldn't allow it to drive on your own. You should pay attention.
I'm willing to bet that there is nothing in any of the literature that says you can just rely on the car 100%. I bet you it says you cannot rely on the car. It is here to aid and assist, and you are in control at all times. I promise you it says something along those lines. And there is not going to be one ability to show an advertisement that says, hey, look, you don't have to pay attention. You can fall asleep in the back seat of this car. It's great. The future is here. I promise you there's not an ad like that.
You know what I really hate?
That's what we want. That's the thing. We want that. And so we pretend like it exists. And then we say it exists in these cars where it doesn't actually, no one is claiming that for the car.
Here's going to be the problem. And this is going to happen to every company where somebody is politically, active. It's in Washington State, which is not a Republican state. My feeling is they're going to go to trial and they are going to get a stupid verdict because they just hate Elon. Welcome back to Under Oath. Today we have author Don Winslow. Don, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
I have the benefit of also writing comic books. I'm an attorney. And every time I see a really successful writer, the tough question I always ask them is, as you're writing these books, is the thought, God, I hope they love it? Or is it, listen, this is my story and I'm going to tell it?
Yeah, the latter. Listen, I've been very lucky with this book, by the way. It's gotten the best reviews of my career. Stephen King said it was the best crime fiction in 20 years. Jim Patterson called it extraordinary. But I never think about that stuff when I'm writing. Because that's up to other people, right? That I just try to control what I can control. And what I care about is writing good characters and good stories. And that's it, So I don't think about those things at all when I'm writing.
I mean, this book's called The Final Score. And what's interesting is, you've written a lot of successful books, and you go, well, I'm going to take some time off. I don't know if I'm going to write anymore. I'm going to start doing things for the world. And do you suddenly just go, you know what? I'm a writer. Writer's right.
Yeah, that was part of it, Jeff. The other part of it, though, was, as you alluded to, I took some time off to focus on political activities. It did not work out the way that I hoped it would work out. But I was still determined to retire. But this book just kept talking at me. It just would not shut up. It would not stop. And I finally thought, okay, that's telling me something. I should sit down and write it.
What's interesting, it's hard to explain to people. Sometimes you're writing a book, sometimes you're writing a series, and there's that book that keeps saying, "Good, it needs to be written," and it's at the back of your head, and you're going, "No, the guys want me to do the sequel. I'm working on this. How many books came in between this one and finally getting it out?
Boy, a bunch. Listen, sometimes these ideas that I have take years to come to fruition. This is a slow cooker kind of business for the most part. I mean, every once in a while you have a short story that's just like, bam, right? Sit down, blah, 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 blah. End of the day, bam. It's that kind of thing. It's a sprint. That's unusual in my life anyway, in my career. And so, some of the ideas on this I had years ago. Others were fairly recent, and there were sort of larger books and novels in between. But I'm that kind of crazy cat that, I usually write 2 books at a time, at least, and so I know how crazy this sounds. And by the look on your face, I can see how crazy this sounds. But I very often have a morning book and an afternoon book. So
It's like 2 jobs. I'm going to the second job now.
Okay, I had never thought of it that way, but you're quite right. So I start work quite early in the morning and on sort of the, if you will, the main project. But then usually, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I'm a little sick of it. It's a little sick of me. And so I'll go to the other book.
Now, what people always, since I do comic books, I do panels and everything else, and people always go, well, how do you write? I said, listen, everybody has their own way, but
Absolutely.
You got to know where you're going. And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, I know my endings. I know some people don't. But it was like this. There was this movie called Sahara. It was a horrible movie.
Yeah, sure.
And
Horrible
one of the characters is on this windsurfer burning across the desert, and one says to the other one, he goes, "Hey, do you know where we're going?" He goes, "No, but we're making great time." And I think about that with writers because they're going, I'm on my 500th page, but I don't know where it's going to end. I'm going, you probably needed to know that before you wrote the first 500.
Yeah, I don't. Listen, I know the next thing, right? The way I put this is if you pull out of your driveway, you're going to have to turn left or right. Those are your choices. And so I know what the next turn is usually. Okay. But I don't, I'm afraid of getting stuck into an ending because then I'm afraid that I'll shoehorn things in order to stay with that ending that maybe shouldn't be, and so what I try to do is to stay more fluid. I try to live inside the character and to think, okay, well, what would the character do now? And sometimes that works, and sometimes it takes you down a blind canyon, and you throw away a week's work and start over again.
Now, you just said something, throwing away a week's worth. And that's the toughest thing when I talk to artists and writers. I'm going, just because you wrote it or did it, it doesn't mean it has to come out.
Correct.
You can dump a page or two. You can get rid of this stuff, but they feel sometimes like it's just like they're children and they can't do it.
Yeah. I think my record is 312 pages.
Jeez.
And hitting delete. And then I went for an hour-long walk, feeling sorry for myself, and then came back and sat down at the keyboard and started writing again.
312 pages.
Yeah.
If I have to estimate on a good day, you go anywhere from 5 to 10 pages. So
that's about right. Yeah.
That's about 30 to 40 days of work.
Oh, at least, yeah.
That's a long walk. That's a real long walk. An hour. It might have felt like it was a little longer than that. I don't know.
It was a painful walk, but the results were good. Because had I stayed with that, I would have just wasted another 30 or 40 days, right? Because I'd made a bunch of wrong decisions, wrong choices. And so I had to admit that to myself, and say, hey, Winslow, this isn't good. This is bad stuff. It's wrong. You're not going to be able to save it by making minor adjustments. That's just deck chairs on the Titanic. So, bam, hit the key, get it over with, and suck it up.
Success is tough because success breeds sequels. And when somebody loves something you do, you're going, God, I have this, like you just said, this book has haunted you and you've wanted to tell it over and over. But I guarantee between the agents and the managers, hey, we need the sequel to this one. We need this. This is the moneymaker, not the new book. People want this character over and over and over.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to the creative mind.
I've been very, very fortunate in terms of my agent, Shane Salerno, who's just always supported creativity in big projects, and the editors that I've worked with, the late, great Sonny Mehta, maybe one of the last of the great editors. And I'll never forget sitting down with him, over lunch in New York and having the what's next conversation, right? And I pitched to him 3 or 4 very standard crime stories like I'd done before. And then I pitched him this crazy 40-year saga with 5 major characters. And he looked at me, he's a very soft-spoken guy. And he said, well, we know you can do the other things. We don't know you can do this. Let's do this.
That's kind.
Greatest gift, and yeah.
I mean, I've never, editors are tough for me because if I write a joke and I really want that joke to stay,
yeah,
I have actually written that joke back into books when I sign the books.
The same thing, yeah.
And I go, hold on, page 7. I wrote this joke and I want to put it back in. And most people allow me to do it because they think it's a cool thing. But some people are like, what are you doing? No, I wrote this joke and they took it out. How tough is that for you when they pull something that you really love?
Tough. I think my record is 5 times back and forth on about a 30-page sequence in a book called The Force, where everything stops and these 5 veteran cops are sitting having dinner and they're just telling stories. And they're all good stories. They're all true stories, by the way, funny stories. And the editor would take it out and I'd put it back in and the editor would do this. This went on a whole bunch of times. And but my point was, look, they're true stories. I heard these stories from cops. They're funny, but the structural point was we're toward the end of what I would describe as Act 2. I thought that the readers needed a break in the action, a breather, before we sort of kick the ball down the stairs, right? It was, for me, a pacing issue. And so I just insisted on it and it stayed in.
Every writer, whether they like it or not, most of them want to see their books on the next level. They want to see their creations come to life. Mm-hmm. And that could be good and bad at the same time because people go, oh, I loved your book. I love the movie Savages. I love that. And you go, well, I wrote all this other stuff too. You have things that you loved and that might not be your favorite book. And you have to be, hey, no. And now you have people fighting like hundreds of millions of dollars. They're like, I want this next book. And what kind of humility, or can you even look at yourself in the mirror when you go, they're actually fighting, the number's now at 100 million. I mean, that must just be you're going, are you nuts? Is this crazy?
Let's be clear, the 100 million doesn't come to me.
No,
okay?
well, I know that. I'm just,
Your audience might not, and then I'll have kidnapping things going on. No, listen, I don't have a problem with humility because I know how many times a day I fail. As you do, this as well,
yeah.
right? When you fail your business, and so I'm not that guy who thinks, oh, I'm so great because these people want this work. I'm thinking, by the way, usually by the time that happens, I'm in at least the middle of the next project. Yep. And that's really, what's occupying my mind, and all of that is the issues and the problems of that book or that story. Sure, it's a kick to have, really quality, good people want your work, and I love that. But really, I'm more focused on what I'm doing in the moment.
Now, I got to talk to Jerry Bruckheimer a couple weeks ago, and
cool. Yeah.
I asked him the tough thing, and the tough thing is this: is that when you are working on another project, like I'll be at Comic-Con in 7 months, and I'm already 2 books into my next one, and I'm sitting here selling this book that feels like a child I sent to college,
right.
And he said, Jeff, that's your job. Even some guy like Jerry Bruckheimer says it's your job. You can't forget that. That's the part of it's writing, and the other part is promoting it. Mm-hmm. And you have to travel all over the world with a book that, you set into the world, basically a year or two ago.
Yeah.
I mean, is it hard for you to go not to start talking about the new books when you're promoting the new?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. There are times I've forgotten the characters' names of the book.
That happens.
Or somebody asked me a question about an aspect of the book that I don't recall at the moment, which is a tough, embarrassing kind of moment. Listen, but it is part of the job, and it's a responsibility that you owe to a lot of people. You owe it to your agent, to your publicist, to the editor, to booksellers, right? Because without those booksellers, I don't have this job that I love. And so it'd be on a certain level easy to sort of blow it off and say, well, that's not important, and I'm a writer, and all of that. But I think Bruckheimer's right in that case. You do have a responsibility to other people.
You had mentioned something about people asking you about characters in your book, and it's always unusual when somebody's belief about what that character, their motivations are, is not even close to what you're thinking. Right. You go, no, I just needed a big dude who looked good, And they think it was something from my childhood or something. I mean, no, this is just some dude. I don't know. Maybe it was in a John Hughes movie. I don't know what I got it from.
Yeah, that happens a lot. But here's my thought about that. I'm not going to dictate to a reader what anything means to that reader. Right? If that's their interpretation, that's their interpretation. That's their experience of the book. So I have one experience of the book as a writer, but each individual has a different experience of the book as a reader. And I honestly believe that their interpretation is just as valid as mine. I'm not going to impose this authorial thing of, no, that's not what I meant. You're a fool. No, that's your interpretation of the book. That's your interpretation. That's your experience. God bless. Go with it.
You tend to get beat up when you say things like that. I know that. People come to my booth sometimes. Now, the hardest thing for me is this. Going back to a character I haven't touched in 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that right now with a character, and I'm trying to fix the stuff that I hated that I wrote 20 years ago in it. And I'm going back and I'm going, am I going to take a lot of crap about this? Because they're going to go, well, this isn't true to the original. I said, well, I'm the god in this one. I created this character. This is mine. Do I have the rights to do with what I want to do with it?
Yeah, I wrote a big fat trilogy on drug trafficking that goes for about 40 years. And when I was writing the third of that, I had to have the first 2 books on my desk to look stuff up. Did I kill that guy? Am I writing about a person who's dead, who perforce can't be doing the things that I have him doing? So, and there is a temptation to fix it, isn't there?
Yeah.
But I find it pretty hard to do, pretty difficult to do,
I was writing a horror graphic novel one time, and I had a character that I love so much, but I know I'm supposed to kill them. And I kept bumping this character down the line because there's 9 people who have to die in the typical horror thing. And he was so good that I can't kill him this. But how tough is it for you when you love a character so much, you go, but he's got to die? I mean, have you ever given a guy a reprieve that you plan to kill?
Once. A character called Marisol in a book called The Cartel, and she later appears in its sequel, The Border. I didn't have the heart. I did not have the heart. I wrote her death 4 or 5 times, by the way. It just didn't, at the end of the day, I couldn't do it. Couldn't bring myself to do it.
When you try to tell people something like that and you're trying to get into their, when they're trying to explain that, you go, no, these are real to me. These are not throwaways. These ideas are life. And Lionel Richie, when they asked him where he comes up with his music and everything else, he said, I sit at the piano and I go somewhere and I come back and I have it with me. And I find out a lot of creative people have that where they go, I don't know where it came from. Of course I had my own experiences, but, does that happen to you where you're going, God, I have no clue where this guy came from?
Absolutely. I would say that if I was to look back at most of my best writing, I don't remember it. I don't remember doing it. Absolutely. And listen, I mean, when you're doing long books, right? Each of those drug trilogy books comes in at a little less than 1,000 pages, I think. I have spent more time with the protagonist of that trilogy than I have with any real human being in my life, with the possible exception of my wife. Right? Day after day, year after year, with Art Keller, with Marisol, with some of these people. And so, they definitely become part of your life, part of the fabric of your life, no question about it. And so there was a character in that book, Pablo, who was a reporter that I originally intended to be a minor character. And he kind of took over quite a bit of the book. And I knew he had to die because I was writing about a situation where in reality, over 200 Mexican journalists were murdered covering those stories. So I knew that he was going to die. And writing that death scene was horrific.
That's tough. Well, Don, your new book is called The Final Score. I hope it is not the final score, as far as your writing career goes. I mean, you make that determination, and congratulations with all the success. And it was so good talking to you.
So good talking to you. I enjoyed the conversation, and good luck with all your stuff as well.
Well, that wraps up today's show. I'm attorney Jeff Kaufman. Thanks for joining us. Special thanks to my 2 co-hosts, my good friend, professional comedian James John, and my law partner, Craig Lind. This show is sponsored by Kaufman Lind. If you or someone you know has been in an accident, contact us at 407-500-JEFF or 407-500-5333 for a free consultation, or visit us at whenyouneedus.com.